In the conversation of overcoming temptation or confronting temptation, Galatians chapter 5 says it this way, that if we will walk by the Spirit, we will not fulfill the lustful desires of the flesh. We have to come to a point in our maturity, in the real spiritual development of who we are as a person, walking with Jesus. Walking with Jesus, spending time with Jesus, looking unto Jesus, leaning on Jesus, allowing Him to form His life in us by the Spirit. We have to come to a place where we understand that avoidance is not the same thing as mastery, but that through the point of confrontation and maturity, that our goal is to be able to master the desires of our flesh. This is the reality of the work in the Spirit in your life and in my life. It's a work of mastery to where we become something different, to where our development over time changes us from the inside out, to where the reality of Jesus, it's Christ in you that is the hope of glory. Your hope is anchored that Jesus and the reality and the glory and the power, the resurrected reality of who Jesus is in you. And that the goal is no longer avoidance, meaning it's only how long I can stay away from certain things, because every time I find myself confronted with a specific issue, I've already decided that I am going to fall, because whatever is in front of me is stronger than the reality of Jesus that is inside of me. It becomes very hard to reap the benefit of the truth when we keep sowing into the lie. And the lie sounds a lot like this: you're never going to change. You'll never be different. This is just going to be your struggle, your vice. It'll be your scenario. It'll be the situation that gets you for the rest of your life. It'll be the struggle that you have to continue to fight through with the ups and the downs and the all arounds. It will be the cycle, the revolving door in your life that you never get freedom from. This is the lie. But the truth is this: it's Christ in you. That's the hope of glory. The truth is this: if you learn to walk by the Spirit, you'll no longer fulfill those desires that have their uprising or their beginnings, their initiatives from the flesh. That if you learn how to walk in and by the Spirit, because the goal or the work of the Spirit in your life and in mine is that our flesh would be brought subject to the loving rule, the loving dominion and governance of the Spirit, where the Spirit would be what governs our day-to-day activities and desires. And we would actually learn through surrendering to a walk in the Spirit to master all of what this flesh tries to bring up, where we would learn to master it and no longer just avoid it. Freedom is not found in avoidance, it's found in mastery. Pretending like certain issues don't exist anymore is not the same thing as confronting them, learning to mature through them, leaning on Jesus and the reality that He is with you and in you, and the Spirit's power walking with you, learning how to master things over time and not simply just avoid them and pretend like they're not real problems. You cannot make progress from an imaginary place. And that's why confrontation is so necessary. A confrontation with reality is what allows us to begin the road to maturity. Pretending like it doesn't exist, like that's not you, like it's not a problem, and just learning how to hide it better than others, or learning how to hide it overall for the rest of your life, is not the same thing as really being changed and allowing Jesus to form Himself in you by the Spirit, to where certain things are not just avoided, but they're mastered, to where you become someone and something different over time. This is the Spirit's goal in your life, because avoidance is not the same thing as mastery. Yield yourself and your life and all of your brokenness to the reality of the Spirit and His loving rule, teaching you to walk by the Spirit so that you no longer fulfill all of these desires of the flesh.